You're listening to the 412 podcast from FBC Mustang in Mustang, Oklahoma, where we take you behind the scenes as we equip the saints for the work of the ministry. I'm Jeremy Davis, your host. Let's get started. What is it that you're looking forward to the most?
Great chance to get to know people better.
It is an absolute madhouse.
I try to find a place with good salads.
So 3 sermons a day.
I never did youth ministry, mainly because I'm scared.
It feels good up here.
We run to the woods thinking, Lord, take my life. I'm done.
Often how I prepare my own heart. I'm looking and reading and thinking.
We had students in the room, 6th through 12th graders, singing at the top of their lungs the doxology.
The engine that is pulling the train should be truth.
I like it.
I like it too.
Okay.
Welcome back to another episode of the 412 podcast, and I want to welcome our guest to the pod. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Hey, okay, so we've got Jerry, we have Brady, we have Nate, 3 guys that are serving as interns this summer, 2 pastoral interns and 1 worship ministry intern. I'm going to turn it over to them just a second, let them introduce themselves. But before we do that, this has been a great summer where we've gotten to have a number of interns a part of the ministry and things going on. Summertime, there's always extra events and extra things going on. And sometimes in our preaching and teaching schedule, there's a little bit of flexibility that we're able to bring in some interns to come be a part of what's going on. And one thing that's important for us as a church, First Baptist Mustang, is we want to make sure that this is a place where people can learn to do ministry. And we do that in various different ways. And for instance, I have a few guys that I'm always working with to be new Sunday school teachers. And there's some ways that they go about that. It's not a formal internship. But there are things that we do, kind of a little bit of a process that we go through to try to get them up to speed and let them test it out and try it out. But one of the ways that we do that is by having pastoral interns, worship ministry intern. We have youth interns. That's a pretty normal thing that we have. Children's ministry intern. For years we've had one of those, and so this is just another opportunity for people to learn, to get involved in ministry. And so today on the episode, we've got 3 of those guys that are with us, and we'll start down on the end with a returning podcast guest, Mr. Jerry Cherian. So introduce yourself. Tell us who you are.
Yeah, so my name is Jerry Cherian, member here since May of 2023. Last time I was on podcast, I was a working guy.
Yeah.
Had more money. A lot has changed since then. I moved to the glorious land of California last August to start my seminary education at the Master's Seminary. So I just completed my first year back home for the summer, and so glad to be here interning under Pastor Michael and y'all.
Excellent. Brady?
Yeah, so my name is Brady Taber. I am a student at OBU, just finished my 2nd year. I'm there with Nate, and going into my 3rd year, my major is biblical and theological studies.
Okay.
So, the goal is ministry. The goal is similar to what I'm doing this summer. So I've been thankful this summer just to be able to do a lot of ministry. I'm from Piedmont, Oklahoma. My dad is the pastor at First Baptist Piedmont.
Yeah.
And so, it's just been cool to be over here and experience a different church, a very healthy and awesome church, and I've been so thankful to be able to be here.
Very cool. All right, finish this out, Nate.
Hey, my name's Nate Winn. I just finished my 1st year at OBU, and I grew up in Mustang. I've actually been going to this church for my whole life. I was dedicated as a baby here 19 years ago, actually. It's pretty cool. So it's been great to come back here for my first summer after starting college and just get experience, get to know what goes on behind the scenes. I'm majoring in worship arts, and John has kind of been a mentor to me throughout high school and up until now, so I've been grateful for his leadership.
Very cool. Yeah, I just told John this just recently. You and I got to lead music a couple Sundays this summer together, and you have another one coming up at the time of this recording. And I told John that I can see a lot of him in you, in the way that you do things. I can
Thanks.
see, I kind of see his fingerprint in you a little bit. Just the way you go about the call to worship and presenting some things, and just the way you go about leading on a Sunday morning. I can see a lot of John there, which is a great
yeah,
thing.
that's an awesome compliment. Thank you so much.
Well, John's great, and you're doing an excellent job. It's been a pleasure to serve with all of you guys. So let's talk about a little bit how did you get connected? Nate, we'll start with you. There's obviously a connection there with John, but how did you get connected, and formally did this internship come about for you?
So like I said, when I first started exploring and wrestling with the call to ministry kind of halfway through high school, John was really the first person I went to, because I was already serving in Passion and in our student band and in different musical capacities. So we started meeting on a weekly basis, and we're going through books. And then originally when I got to college, I knew that I wanted to intern in the summer, but I had it in my mind that I would be somewhere else at a different church, just like getting a different experience. So I looked around. I couldn't really find anything. Stuff fell through, and I was asking John, like, if he knew of anywhere that I could go to potentially get some worship experience for the summer.
Yeah.
And he was like, is there a reason why you haven't asked to go here, to intern here? And I was just kind of like, I feel kind of bad asking you to give me a job after all this stuff you've done for me already. And he was like, so this was really a John thing.
Yeah.
He talked to Michael. He made it all work. And I'm really grateful for him for that. It's been an awesome experience.
Very cool. What about you, Brady?
Yeah, so obviously I'm not from this church, but I've been blessed by the fact that my dad and Michael have grown a friendship over the years. And about 2 years ago, so the summer after I graduated high school, I asked Michael initially just for one day if I could shadow him, which was a really cool and awesome day. And there are actually still things like to this day that I remember even from that singular day.
Yeah.
But because of that, I kind of got introduced to this church, kind of got exposed to the church, and I felt like, man, this is a really cool church. I felt like Michael was just so intentional, and I could just tell he's such a teacher. Like, he wants to pass on the knowledge that he has, and he's very wise. And so I knew that, like, if there was ever an opportunity presented to me to do an internship or something more formal at this church, I would love to do that. And then I worked at a camp the first 2 summers out of high school, but then I knew I wanted to do an internship summer 2025. But in 2024, I was like, okay, I'm starting to think about internships, and I was like, well, maybe I can reach out to Michael and ask him. So I asked Michael April 2024 if I could be an intern in summer 2025. So I asked him well over a year before my internship if I could, just because I was like, I don't know, I'll just shoot my shot, see what happens. But because I knew that, like, this was the one place that I really, really wanted to be. If not, I would, obviously look for other internships. There's great churches everywhere, but I knew that this was the one place that I really, really wanted to be. And, by the Lord's grace, Michael said yes, and the rest is history, I guess. Yeah.
That's excellent. And Michael you're right. He's intentional. He wants to teach. He's an incredible leader. And I know I love just getting to work alongside him. And what an opportunity to get to intern under him and just learn and grow under his leadership. That's a phenomenal opportunity. Jerry, same thing. You're working with Pastor Michael as well. Tell us a little bit about how you got connected with that internship.
Yeah, so even before I stepped out to go into seminary or full-time ministry, as I was trying to think through it, and as I was processing the call, I had approached Pastor Michael like even 7 months before I quit my job and moved to California. So he was kind of helping me through that season leading up to taking that decision. Yeah. And so I was already connected to him. He would sit down with me, talk about stuff. He would review. He would have me prepare sermons. He would have me review it with him. And so I had done this with him. And then when I came back for my winter break during December, he and him met up for a couple of times or 3 times. He would talk to me about the sermons that I was working on and about ministry. And it was during that time I thought, you know what, if I could do it with him over a summer, that'd be pretty cool. So I asked him in December when I was here, I asked him, hey, would it be possible if I can do like an extended internship with you at some point, summer or at some point? And he said, sure, that works. And so he reached out to me in January and said, still interested? I said, absolutely. And so very cool. That's how I got connected and did this.
That's great. Well, I'm glad you guys are all here. But let's talk about a little bit of the ministry and the things that you're involved in. So one thing for you guys that are pastoral interns, you guys have been kind of rotating through Sunday school classes. Tell us a little bit about that and what that's been like. Jerry, if you want to kick us off.
So yeah, usually what happens is during different Sundays, we are assigned to teach in different Sunday school classes. Pastor Michael has it set up for us. And so during the week, we'll be preparing lessons for that. We'll reach out to the teacher, ask them what they want us to teach. And so he has us teach in different Sunday school classes, all at different age groups. So we've taught middle school, high school, college and careers, young adults, all the way up to the senior adult classes. So we've gotten experiences with a lot of different settings, a lot of different age groups, a lot of different kind of things that they do. So yeah, that's how that's been working out.
Very cool. Brady, what's that like, bouncing around to different classes, different age demographics?
Yeah, it's very cool because growing up, you get various opportunities sometimes, like in the youth group and things like that, to teach, but you don't often get to have such a wide range of teaching experience, and that's been just so cool. Even like, there's been different settings. Like I've had certain Sunday schools that sit around a table and have Sunday school. I've had others that, I'm up on a podium and I'm teaching in a more formal setting. There's really massive Sunday schools with 60 plus people, and there's small Sunday schools with 5 people, and both and the whole range in there. Like they're awesome, and it's awesome just to be able to just have so much different exposure to different things, because the Lord could take us to a lot of different places in ministry. We need to be ready for all of it. And so I've been so thankful just to be able to have all of those different areas and demographics and settings that just allow me to thrive. And I'm also just so thankful to the Sunday schools in particular, just because they've been so gracious and so helpful in encouraging us, and the Sunday school teachers, as they're giving up a week where they're normally teaching through books of the Bible and things like that, and to be interrupted and have us just come and do what we want. I'm so thankful to them, and it's been such a great experience to do that.
Very cool. So I know that your weeks and some of the things you guys are doing looks a little bit different than what Nate's doing. But briefly, as pastoral interns, talk to us a little bit about what are some of the other things that you're doing throughout the week besides just preparing? Because I know there's other tasks being assigned, and I know there's interruptions to that. There's different things happening. What are some other things that you're working on as well?
So one of the things that we do that's really cool that Michael's been very intentional with us about is just kind of under the realm of like pastoral care. And so we have shepherding contacts that we reach out to every week, just tell them we're praying for them, ask them for any specific prayer requests, things like that. And that's just been super cool. We also get to visit, do hospital visits. We've been to funerals and things like that. Just getting a really wide variety of just, leading the people, but serving the people. And that's been something that Michael's been so intentional about, is like this internship, he's really drilled into us, like shepherd the people, serve the people. And with that comes those things that you don't see. They're not public normally. Just, praying for people and caring for people in their homes and the hospitals and things like that. And so that's been really cool.
Jerry, talk about some of the impact of being able to be a part of those things, some of the things you've learned as you've done that.
I mean, one of the biggest things that we've learned about pastoral ministry is there is a side of ministry, as Pastor Michael says, you're alone, and there is a side of ministry where you're among people. So a lot of what Brady talked about was us being among people. Like we shepherd contacts, we reach out to them either via email or calls, and then you visit them at the hospital or at their home, visit them at funeral places. A lot of that being among the people, getting to know the sheep that are entrusted to you, or as interns that we are getting to learn from. And so a lot of that, just getting to know real problems, what people are facing through, like to meet people who are facing cancer, who probably only have 6 months to live, and yet have that trust in the Lord. It was so impactful. Like at one instance, we went to visit this dear church member who's struggling with cancer, and we went to minister to him, but his faith and his trust through that journey really ministered to us. And so a lot of that with being among the people, and then a lot of it doing alone. So we have book studies we have to do. We have to write papers on books. We have the lesson or the sermon preparation that we do by ourselves. We have something called a sermon transcription, where we have to sit through, listen to the sermons, and kind of edit the transcripts that we have.
Okay.
A couple of different projects that Pastor Michael has us work on, like this preaching project on Obadiah and Nahum. So a lot of things that we had to sit alone and do. And so he was getting us to taste what it feels like to be alone and do that hard work while nobody sees, while at the same time being a pastor, being a shepherd, and being among God's people. So it's been really impactful to see both those sides and facets of ministry.
Yeah, that's great. Nate, talk a little bit about what are some of the things that you've been doing kind of during the week. Obviously, you're not leading every Sunday, and so there's going to be some other things. And I've seen John is across the hall from me, and so I see you in there a lot. You guys walking through books and different stuff together.
Yeah.
But what's some of the stuff you've been working on?
It's been really just holistic in the approach of worship ministry and ministry as a whole. There's a lot of things that you just don't see from like the outside that just goes into planning a Sunday morning. He's let me sit in and just be a part of that conversation every Sunday this summer. Like, these are the songs we're doing. This is how we're shaping the service. This is the contour of what the songs and the transitions in the scripture are working together to prepare hearts for the sermon. This is how that's going. And I've been able to contribute to that and just to help with that and just to see how intentional John is and how that pays off by pointing people's hearts to Christ and just having a structured worship set on Sunday morning. And not just limited to that, I've had experience behind the scenes working in the streaming room where we are right now and just tech and preparing for that from a technical standpoint, and also working with different people, with musicians, with the choir. Leading rehearsals is something that I was unfamiliar with, that I've gotten a lot of good experience in. Let's see. We've been going through some books about worship ministry, as you said. We've been writing a song, actually. That's been a lot of fun. Just a worship hymn that we've been working on. And also not just limited to worship ministry, that it is ministry of its own, and a worship pastor is first and foremost a pastor. So I've been able to sit in and walk through some stuff with him that isn't specifically musical. Like a funeral that he led, I got to sit in with this meeting where he was comforting this grieving family and just seeing how that works and the intricacies of dealing with people. And I got to lead a staff devotional, which was great. Definitely outside my comfort zone, but preparing me for those more deliberate shepherding aspects that aren't within the worship set. Overall, it's just been really, really full, and I feel like there's a lot of experience that I got here that I couldn't get in a classroom at OBU, just studying worship.
And that's the goal. And especially for worship, I think, you know, that title of worship pastor is really important for us to know and understand. And I think there's a lot of people out there that maybe they have the idea that John sits in his office and, like, you know, plays piano chords all day, or you know, just puts songs together and, you know, is just arranging set lists or whatever, and contacting choir members, and all of those things exist. He does all of those things, but far more than that. He truly is a pastor. He's shepherding people. He preaches and teaches and does ministry with people, and he makes those hospital visits, and he does shepherding contacts throughout the year, and he does all of those things. And that's an important aspect of ministry for any of the five of us that are on pastoral staff. It's way more than what, you know, maybe surface level you see. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and there's a lot of ministry that happens. And I'm glad you guys are learning those things. So, Nate, as you walk away from this, what's something that maybe you're gonna have you'll carry on with you as you leave this place?
I think just a greater intentionality that worship leading is more than just music. Like, I was aware of that, but just being able to see that put in action, how it is shepherding and how it is formative, how it is giving people the language they need to relate to God in that corporate moment, and also in their personal alone time with God. I think it's very important, and it's just given me a sense of gravity, a sense of just a serious view of, like, that this is a very important thing. So that's definitely something I'll take with me. Also, just working with other people, with musicians that maybe I wouldn't have, like, understood exactly what they're doing, but just being aware and being able to relate to them and communicate what needs to happen, and just cooperation in that has been a skill that I've been honing over the course of this internship.
That's great. Brady, what about you? As you've walked through this internship, what are some things you'll take on with you as you leave?
Yeah, so one of the things I actually mentioned just a second ago, but it's one of the first things that Michael said to me this summer. I was with him, and we were going over a sermon, a lesson that I was about to teach on Mark 10, and I just remember him saying regarding like preparation for lesson, preparation for sermons, I just remember him saying, listen, you don't need to hit a home run, you just need to hit a single. And what he means by that, he said over and over, and like if there's one thing that's just been drilled into my mind, I'm going to take for a long time, is shepherd the people, serve the people, like just be someone who cares for the people, who loves the people first and foremost, more than any of the outside things or anything like that, just serving the people. And that's one thing that, conceptually, like I've known for a while, but like just seeing that, be able to practice that, being able to just have the idea that like I'm writing this lesson or I'm doing this shepherding contact or I'm visiting this person not to gain anything or gain any appreciation, but I'm doing it because I love God and I want to serve his people. And that's just been one thing that like has just been so impactful, is like Michael truly lives that, and he's trying to pass it down. Just serve the people. Yeah. And I can't say it enough. Like, and it's what I think about constantly now, just because it's always on the forefront of Michael's mind. And so, and he's just, passed that down to us. And I've been so thankful for that. And it's really changed the way I view ministry in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it really helps you understand what Peter's talking about when he says to shepherd the flock that is among you. Yeah. And that's one thing that he goes back to a lot. And one way that he really leads us well, both as being over us as our senior pastor and leading us through the week, but also the church as a whole. He leads really well as he does that. He is certainly among the people, and he wants to shepherd those people that he's among, and being a part of that. That's great. What about you, Jerry?
One of the biggest things that I walk away is I'm so thankful for the time and investment that Michael has put into us. Like, as Brady was saying, like, he passed on so much life experiences and information to us. Like, it's not just things he was teaching us, but as he says, like, there are so many things that are just caught. Like, we've got to have countless number of hours with him in conversations, in his truck, in his office. Yeah. He's been so intentional in pouring it out. Whatever he knows, like, he wants to invest into us, and he's so intentional in teaching it to us. I know as interns, as he's training interns, I know for you all too, like, it's so much of, you have to drain so much, and you might not get a lot in return. So just super thankful for the investment that has been poured into us by Michael and also the other pastors, like sitting in on preaching practicums, helping us get better at what we are doing, giving us that perspective of when I get to work with other pastors, it's not one man's ministry, as Pastor Michael says. It's a kingdom win. And so it's really working for the kingdom. So one of the biggest things I walk away with is I've been given much. So how can I use this immediately in my immediate context, even as I go back to seminary, to just serve and to be a better servant of Christ and his flock.
Yeah, that's great. And you mentioned the preaching practicum a second ago. This is a funny setup. You guys are just preaching to an empty worship center, and there's 2 or 3 people sitting there. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it is quite intimidating. So usually on a Sunday, you'll have at least, depending on the class size, 10 to 30 or 40 people. Right. At a preaching practicum, what Michael wants us to do is the sermon or the lesson that we've taught on a Sunday, we usually preach it to just him, usually me and Brady sitting, and then another pastor. So sometimes there was Jeremy or Joey or Jeff and John. So there'll be like a 1,000-seater auditorium, and it has 4 people in there, and you have to still preach with the same intensity, same vigor as if you're teaching to 1,000 people. And so it is quite weird. You don't see a lot of nodding heads. You might just look at blank faces who are trying to really understand what you're saying and trying to write some points to critique you. And so it is cool and weird, but the more we got into the summer, we got used to it, but it was super fun.
Yeah, and one of the things, so he mentioned that after we preach, we go into the conference room and we get critique on our sermons, and man, what a humbling experience. It's just like sitting there, and Michael's rule is like, you're not allowed to respond to the critique you get. If you don't, like if you're asked a question, you can answer the question, but like you're not really allowed to defend yourself. Like you just take it and apply it. If he told us, he's like, if you don't think it was helpful, you don't have to, but you're not allowed to respond. And that has just been such a humbling experience, but also like so helpful. Like I feel like I've just learned so much, and just sitting there, and even just like right before this, we were doing it, and just having different exercises. So one time, Michael, instead of doing the critique after, he had a microphone, and he was in the audience, and he would just interrupt us in the middle of the sermon and give us critique. And because he was trying to, he's like, you're never going to get more distracted than what I'm about to distract you with. Yeah. But then like this last time, even he made us speed it up. So we had like 40-minute sermons, and he told us like, I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour before, he's like, hey, you're actually going to have to preach it in 25 minutes. Oh, nice. And so we're just like speeding through it and trying to figure out, okay, what do I cut? What do I not? Yeah. But it's just taught us, I mean, for me especially, like it just taught me so much about like, being intentional about the words you say. Actually, they do matter. Like you're representing the word of God, and that carries weight, and even the way you communicate it. Like it's important to think through those things, because the word of God is true and can be used even if you say silly things. But it's important to remember, like, we need to be good communicators of God's word, and we need to properly teach the people and shepherd the people and communicate to the people what God's word said, and just taking that and realizing the importance of it has been very helpful, and I've learned lots and lots through that.
Yeah, that's great. And Jerry, I heard you even in the middle of being distracted, you even learned like current events and stuff in the middle.
Yeah, that was this funny story. I was at the last preaching practicum 2 weeks back. I was preaching from John 14 and talking about how Jesus was comforting his disciples. And I was like, got into a flow of 5 minutes. And Pastor Michael suddenly stopped me and said, hey, do you know Hulk Hogan passed away? Like I'm preaching, like I'm in a flow. I'm like ripping it out. And Pastor Michael says, hey, do you know Hulk Hogan passed away? I said, I didn't know how to respond. I said, no, I didn't. He was like, yeah, my phone just told me he passed away. And I was like, okay. Then he was like, yeah, carry on. I just wanted to distract you.
That's great.
Just threw me off. Like I had no clue if I had to comfort him because of John 14 that Hulk Hogan passed away, or. But yeah.
Yeah, well, that's great. Okay, so Nate, you didn't do the preaching practicum, but you did get some real life experience leading music on Sundays. Tell us a little bit about that. How was that leading in that role? And in fact, the last time you and I led together, we actually swapped places. So you were the guy for that. And then the last time, at the recording of this podcast, you're getting ready to lead just completely solo. You're going to be running rehearsal by yourself. You'll be leading. You'll do call of worship and lead congregational worship and all of it together, just by yourself. So tell us a little bit about that.
So if you had asked me to do that at the start of this summer, I would have been very intimidated and hesitant. So I think John was aware of that and just been gradually giving me those experiences and helping me work up to that point. This won't be my first time filling in for John completely. I did it, I think, a month ago. Yeah. But it still is a little bit, there's a lot of moving parts. And when you're responsible for all of them, like you understand what John is doing on a regular basis and how much intentionality he puts into that. But I'm excited for it. I'm a little nervous, but it'll be good. Yeah. Especially the choir will be up there with us. I'll be leading the rehearsal with the band and the praise team and speaking all the transitions and just guiding that. I picked up the songs yesterday, but it'll be good. It's given me a lot of preparation just for being intentional with that, like not wasting a moment of like everything has a purpose. Every song needs a place in the order. Every transition needs to be like specifically shaping people and not just like, okay, now we're going to sing this song. Right. It's like, how can we bring people along and like edify them in this act that maybe it's not even like maybe it is a functional thing and less like a spiritual thing. Like, oh, they need to be seated or we're calling them to stand to worship. How do we get that to engage their soul and their mind and their heart in worship? Yeah. That's been a great thing. So it is very practical. I think it's given me a lot less nerves just about doing that in real life as I leave this internship and as I go out. There are a lot of opportunities to serve in different capacities at different churches around OBU, and I did dabble a little bit in that my first year, but I think this has just made me so much more capable of doing that on a more regular basis. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, that's excellent. Yeah, and I've gotten the privilege to watch all of you guys preach and teach. Jerry was in my class on last Sunday, and he taught in there, did Psalm 16, did a great job. I've gotten to serve alongside Nate. I've gotten to have you come be a part of some of our Crossroads stuff that we've been doing, and you lead music for that, and you do a great job for that. I've listened to Brady and the preaching practicum. I've also had feedback from some of my Sunday school teachers who've had you in their classes, and you guys have done a phenomenal job, and you have all served well, and we're really grateful as a church for your ministry this summer, and I hope that it's all stuff that you guys take on for the rest of your life and apply to your ministry. Before we wrap up this episode, give me just the funniest thing that has happened this summer while you've been doing an internship, and maybe it's a weird story, or maybe it's something you didn't expect to experience, something. But just give me one of the best moments, and I'll tell you, for me. So I ride a moped. Those that may or may not know. So it's a little 150cc scooter. It's street legal. Got a license plate, the whole deal. And I wear my helmet, but I'm always
awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. Thank you, Jerry. One thing I was not expecting was Jerry's moped commentary throughout the summer. He's always encouraging me to keep riding it, to carry things on it, So I was taking a ladder just the other day. I was loading up a ladder. I was borrowing it so we could paint part of our living room. And we're loading up to the minivan. Chelsea brought it up, and Jerry was like, "What? You got the moped? Just take it,
Yep. I know why he needed the van. He could have the ladder, Chelsea, and probably all the kids on the moped and taking that ladder home.
That's right. But for you guys, what are some funny moments and things that you enjoy experiencing here?
Yeah, well, I have one. This was one actually all of us were a part of.
Okay.
It's funny, but it's also like really cool. So at the beginning of the summer, so this would have been the second week, all three of us, so me, Nate, and Jerry, we all had a book study that we were going through. The book was Spiritual Leadership by J. Oswald Sanders. And
phenomenal book, by the way.
Yeah, great book. So good. But Michael just walks into the place that we were studying, and he's like, grab your book. We're going to do the book study on the go. Okay. And so we get into his truck. He just starts driving, and he's like, okay, go. And so we're literally doing a book study in the car. As the car's moving, we have no idea where we're going. He does not tell us.
Yeah, you've been kidnapped.
Yeah. This was the second week of our internship. Yeah. We'd been there 7 days. We were like, okay, what's going on here?
I felt scared. I was the only brown guy with the white guy. I was like, I don't know what's going. Is he giving up me to someone? Or?
Yeah. It was. But we started going north on the turnpike, and we drove for a while. I mean, probably 20 minutes. Then we turn off into Edmond, and we get up into Edmond. We stop at this men's fashion store that Michael likes to go to, and we walk in there, and we were just like, well, is Michael going to pick out another suit? What's going on? We still are so confused. We were just like, oh, this is an odd internship. But
sure.
No, he ended up, he told us to pick out a tie, which was so gracious and so fun. It was a fun trip, and he told us to pick out a tie, and then another sweet old lady who, by the way, this was a men's fashion shop, so only men's clothing in there. Uh-huh. An older lady walks into the store, and it's just her, and she's just shopping, and which was kind of confusing in the first place. But she overhears that we're interns, and she comes up to us, and she's like, "Hey, I actually want to buy you guys a tie too." And we're like, "Oh, really? You don't have to do that." But she ended up she bought us a tie, and so we ended up getting 2 ties that day, which was awesome. Yeah. We've worn them various times this summer, but that was really cool and really fun.
So usually on Mondays we'd go with you all for staff lunches, and that I think was the funniest times that we could go to. There was so much laughter on the table. Yeah. Just funny stuff happening. Usually on I remember 2 Mondays back, the staff was trying to figure out my relationship status and how to help me along with it. And so we're at Chick-fil-A, and we're sitting and we're having food, and then Michael looks across the table and says, "Hey, there's this lady there. You want me to set you up?" I look across the table. That's a 80-year-old woman sitting right there. It was like, I could talk to you for her, like, if you want.
Oh, that's funny.
Thanks for the help. So that was another funny thing that happened at Chick-fil-A.
There you go. And so two of you guys, Brady, you have a girlfriend, but the other two, you guys are single.
We are.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So if there's anyone listening out there that's looking to date a pastor or future worship pastor here, we got the setup. We got the hookup here.
Single and available.
Single and available. There you go.
That was one surprising thing for me is how invested Michael was in the romantic lives of every single person on the staff.
Yes.
Like, it was one of the first questions he asked on our first meeting.
Yeah.
And just periodically throughout the whole summer has been, "You still single?" Like when I went to Falls Creek for a week, he's like, "Did you fall in love?" And I was like, "With a camper?"
Too risky.
Too risky. There you go.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. All right. Well, you guys have all done a great job. I appreciate you coming on to the podcast. And more than that, we appreciate the service to the church and being a part of this internship this summer. I hope you guys have had fun. You learn a lot. You take it on with you. So thanks for being here. And listener, thank you so much for joining us once again for the 412 podcast. We'll catch you next time. This podcast is made possible by the members of First Baptist Mustang. This podcast is produced by John Osmus, our Director of Media, artwork by Olivia Travis, Director of Communications, and music by Pastor John Brewer, Worship Pastor here at FBC Mustang. For more information about First Baptist Church in Mustang, you can go to fbcmustang.org. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the 412 podcast.